What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 377 of Opinions May Vary. I am your host, Jared. My co-host with me, Alex.
Hey.
Joining us on this beautiful afternoon/evening is the legend. He's just extending his record, just pulling away from the competition.
His title reign.
It's not a competition, but it's a competition. But it's not, but it is. His title reign will continue. The legendary Brett Kelley.
Sup?
The art mercenary himself.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey.
Brett, it is so good to see you.
Likewise.
It's been too long. I can't remember the last time. However long it's been too long. We're going to have a lot of fun this week, though, because for the first time since 2016 or 17, we finally got to go to a convention with you.
Has it really been that long?
It's been a while, man.
Has it?
That physically hurt to hear that.
Because we didn't do Boston Comic-Con last summer.
Right.
Yeah.
Brett didn't go the summer before.
I went. I think.
Or did you go? Or
I
did
went,
we all go?
I went, but I was tabling. Like I was working. Like there was a year where y'all went and I was there, but I was working a table and I was doing nothing fun.
But you haven't done New York in a while.
I worked New York, but yeah, I've never been with you. I haven't been with you guys.
Right.
Not since the time Colin
It's been a
was.
long time.
It's been a really long time
longer
since
time.
we've been to a convention with Brett.
True.
And it was sad, but we mended that. We went to the 5 Points Festival in Brooklyn, New York this past weekend. If you heard last week's episode with 3D Hero, a whopping 48 hours before the show, he was kind enough to join. He was crunch time. He let us know when we were at the show, like, hey guys,
we were saying our goodbyes on Saturday, and he came up with, "Why would you do that to me?"
Yep.
And I'm like,
He explained his recording technique with you guys magnificently, because he'd be like, I'd say a couple things and I'd hold my breath to paint the lines in between.
He was a true hero. He lived up to his moniker for joining us. So once again, if we didn't already drive that home enough, big thank you to 3D Hero for joining us.
If he's listening, I'm the guy that gave you those markers at the end of the day too. And I was like, hey, you're cool.
Hopefully that made it a little bit a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw, if you follow his stuff, he had those 3 blue quicks
Yeah.
that he was like raffling off.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like a chance to buy one.
Yeah, those looked awesome.
And today he posted, he found them. 2 of them are already on eBay.
Ooh, is that a compliment, or is that just, God damn it?
Well,
He posted, "OMG, mom, look, I made it to the eBay." And there's 2 of them. I can't tell if the third one is one of those same ones, but at least 2 are up there.
Well, I mean,
So
on one side it's like, yeah, my work's wanted, but on the other side it's like, come on, man.
yeah.
it's both. It's both.
But-
like,
We went to the 5 Points last year. We were fortunate enough to talk with Josh and Sarah, the people who put it on the show. They were very cool, very kind to us, and John and Alex got to check out the show. And this year it got my, I mean, if that episode did one thing, it got my interest up.
I didn't do it last year, and I want to make sure I get to it this year. I want to give a shout out to Riley Stark, who designed our logo 8 years ago, practically.
Long time ago. I still remember meeting in her condo, because I used to work with her husband,
Mhm.
and we went over after work, and we got to chatting.
And we wear it on our T-shirts. Jared and I have our T-shirts with our logo and our design and color scheme. And Sarah spots them from a distance and waves them up and knows who we are immediately.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting in that it's neat to us because we don't get recognized.
Yep.
No one sees our faces; they just hear our voices. And the one time we do make a connection, we get remembered, and that was really neat of Sarah. Like, who knows how many people they have to keep track of. So I made sure I thanked her on the way in and out.
And we didn't talk to her this year for the show. We talked to her last year.
Correct.
So the fact that we were still in her mind, that was pretty cool. And also give it up to Riley. That color scheme.
yeah.
It was an unbelievable thing when I first, and we're getting off track here, but when I was talking with Riley about designing the logo, I was like, I had something in Microsoft Paint. I wish I saved it. So it would be a good one for the scrapbook later on, but I don't think I ever saved that one. I was like, this is what I was thinking, and the first thing she came back with, I was like, good Lord, that's perfect. And that's the one we have. But
And even on the way out, when I thanked Sarah, and just to check in, she was had a screw gun in her hand and was about to rush somewhere.
yeah,
It was
she was on a.
You're super busy, like everyone who's working the show right now. So
That's awesome.
Big ups to them for putting on such a cool show. So yeah, last year John and Alex got to check out the show. It sounded incredibly fun and entertaining, so I decided I wanted to see it this year myself. And we did just that. Brett Kelley was he joined with us along with we met up with Babs, who takes pictures.
Mm-hmm.
She was there. She got there before us.
Yeah.
Waiting. She gave up her spot in line to join us,
Mm-hmm.
and much fun was had. You can see. I believe Babs posted a bunch of her pictures on her Facebook page.
She did.
I believe that's Babs Who Takes Pictures on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
so you can go find those. But let's get into the show. It is in Brooklyn. I have never been to Brooklyn. I've been to New York a bunch of times. I didn't realize how different Brooklyn can be.
Yep.
It seemed like a really fun place. It seems like this is it looks kind of run down, but it's also upscale. I don't know how this works.
It was a pretty hipstery area.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. A lot of bikes, a lot of puppers. Sending my wife snaps of pups walking down the street.
So when we say toys or Toy Con, it's not like we're dealing with Transformers or G.I. Joes or pop vinyls or anything. Did you guys see any pop vinyls?
I thought about that today because I have a pop vinyl on my desk at work. I have two of them, actually. They're both from Overwatch. I have Torbjorn and Zenyatta.
Mm-hmm.
And I it actually clicked with me. I didn't see a single pop at all the entire time we were there.
Like one that wasn't like a modified version, or like
I didn't see
one that
any
wasn't
pops
like
that
a
I didn't
mod?
see any modified
if there
ones.
was a mod, I didn't realize it.
Yeah, or recognize it.
Yeah.
I think there's a general, at least with the community that kind of arrives at 5 Points Fest. I think there might be a social contract that's an unspoken.
There's
a rule.
There is definitely, because as we mentioned it last year, it came up, and we were comparing it to other shows, and Josh had said how there's only 2 vendors allowed to sell pops, and all they have were like limited variants.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
And they didn't have like, the full case display of just ones you could get from any other store.
Yeah.
But and even with the FYE booth there, it's like, oh, the FYE was there. It's like, yeah, they had a whole bunch of figures, and so it's a blessing and a curse, because like, well, it's just mass produced plastic garbage. But at the same time, if that's the step to get them to get to this point where they're going to buy designer toys,
yeah,
and it's like, yeah, that's great. You bought your $13 Golden Girls figure or whatever. Or whatever pop show you enjoy.
Or you got whatever kit you can, so you can kit bash later, or you can modify it into something else.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. So
I was still on pops.
Using industry terms.
No,
no one kit
like,
bashes pops.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you can buy it, then use it to turn into something else. Like you buy a blank, like using a blank, but you're not buying a blank. You're just using something to maybe convert it.
If a pop is like step 1,
yeah,
and then like you get up to the good stuff, where it's more rare and more limited, and like a designer's name is on the box. Yeah, like that's like step 5 or 6.
Sure.
And that's how eventually you find artists that you could be a fan of and that you could follow.
Yeah, baby steps.
I don't know who the hell designs or makes the original pops. They're just a company. If Funko makes it, do we know any artists named by them?
I do not.
It's someone in China.
It is certainly a different show. It's more. I've never been to a show like it before. It's a what's the official? It is a designer toys, indie comics, craft beer, kaiju, and sofubi street art live painting, which I believe I saw all of that.
Yeah. In great abundance.
Indie comics, not so much. I did. There were a lot more artists than I expected. I will say, like with original art, like, hey, you can buy these art things here. But it was mostly about all the designer toys and pins, enamel pins, man.
Yep.
The pin section was new this year.
Yep. Yes, they had the
pin yard.
The pin yard. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
The pyard.
Pyard, because there's both an inside and an outside, which is something I really haven't seen much before.
It did seem like wasted space last year.
Yeah.
The outside.
Yeah. Because they didn't have the pin yard there last year.
Okay.
Was it just like food and painting?
Like the trucks were lined up a bit differently. They didn't have that side corner that wasn't as present.
Yeah.
But like the beer vending spot was still in back, and the paintings were happening more against the building instead of against the fence on the opposite side.
Sure.
And so like every single tent where there was pins, there was like instead there was 2 other booths. And like one of the artists, painters, designers had some figures, and he travels in an RV. It's like his small RV was parked in there too, because that's what he works out of. And so Yeah, there was like 2 tables of toys and figures
Mm-hmm.
instead of having what was it, the 15 or so tents of pin sales.
Of pins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad because that seems like they could even get more pin vendors
Oh, for sure.
later. Because like I wanted more,
Me
despite
too.
the fact that there were hundreds of pins available to me.
Me too.
Let's get started with Brett and I had a similar idea. Brett hit me with it first because I think I thought of it, but I hadn't put it in words yet.
Yeah.
And it is how with everything there was a lot of stuff that we liked, but there was nothing that was 100% for me.
Yeah.
And so Brett said that, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, you're right. I agree with that. And
and just to clarify, like I loved everything that I saw there. Like there were stuff that like was really cool, but it's stuff that I was just like, you know, like I it was almost like going to a museum in a lot of ways where I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like I got to see this artist in their wares, and I'm like, this is really cool. I really like this technique. I learned a lot just walking around and seeing all these artists. But yeah, like there was very few things I saw that I was like, I didn't like my jaw didn't hit the floor, like to the point where I couldn't pick it back up.
If I was gonna have to make a big purchase, nothing there called out to me.
Yeah. I had like 1 or 2, but
It's like when you're looking through a portfolio of Ivan Rice, and you see the page where Sinestro impales like a very prominent character at the time.
Liara, yeah.
I didn't want to spoil anything.
It's a 6-year-old page.
I'm just saying, you know, I tried, and you think, holy I need this. How much is it? It doesn't matter. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Whereas and this is not a knock. It's just when, you know, there were so many things at 5 Points that I saw where I went, wow, that is incredible, but it doesn't matter what the price is because I don't think I have to have that. Is that kind of what you guys are getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I think maybe that's just chalking up with me getting older and being more like not being able to be as frivolous as I normally am. Where I'd just be like, oh yeah, like I could totally burn this money. I'm at an age now where I'm like, I have to save.
The mortgage is slowly getting heavier on the scale.
Yeah.
And outweighing other
so
things.
I could probably lay some of that blame on that aspect of that as I'm getting older. My fiscal indulgences are being much more strict. But there were still things that I really like. I liked everything that I saw, but there were not a lot of things that they're just like that as you described.
So with your point of view and then with John's from last year, you're on opposite spectrums right now. Because what I was trying to do with John, because John, he has this hobby, he has fun.
Yeah.
He repaints He-Man figures, he redesigns things.
Reassembles.
He like customizes He-Man stuff to make it into other cooler stuff. And so my intent there was to show him people doing this and being like, John, you could sell some stuff. Like, John, you make some things, you get some stock of, you can vend here. But that wasn't in his head. He just wanted other things that were there. Whereas when Brett said this to me of like, nothing is 100% mine, and now that I know it's missing, I could come back and bring that with me.
Right.
Now it's up to Brett the artist to make the thing that he would want. Because if you realize, like, it's like if there's not a perfect comic book that you want, well, then make the comic book. Because maybe other people want that. And so, like, you're realizing that, and you already have that in your head. And I wanted to get that in John's head, too.
Yeah.
So it's neat recognizing, like, at what ends everyone is on. And I wonder how many other people go to the show who, like, might have an idea or want to start off. And at what point seeing these artists and seeing these designs and seeing the figures and the paint jobs and the customizations, and if that breaks someone to go, oh, I could never do that, versus I'm going to do this.
Yeah,
this is the step I need.
Even just evidence to John's thing, when you posted your pictures of the things that you picked up the other day, one of the first comments I saw was someone commenting on the BB Hate figure that John made you a couple
Show me
years
that
ago.
buff ass BB.
Show me that buff BB-8.
And that was Sukaba, and that was the clothing guy,
right?
The guy with the t-shirts.
Yep.
To kind of bring it back to, I think what got me on that train of thought, and the reason being is because I think for me, like the things that I responded most to were like I would say like it was about 50-50 of the people who exhibited, who vended material, had material that was kind of like their own interpretation of already existing things. So it's almost like if you like your favorite 80s cartoon show, there is something there that rubbed elbows with it, or is at least like either something that was a repurposed version of that, or if there was something that had that same motif of like the logo, and which is cool because it definitely it rocks that nostalgia cage that we all have, being the age we are now. But the other half were stuff like I gravitated more towards the stuff that I've never seen before, and that's just because I'm an artist, and I like the individual voice and seeing things I've never seen before, or whatever, being hoity-toity about it. But those things I really and I did find those artists, and I still liked everything. Like I said, I liked everything that I saw, but But I gravitated more towards the hipster, my inner hipster being in Brooklyn, just being like, I've never seen this before. That means this is really cool, and no one else knows except me, that type of thing. Whereas,
absolutely,
yeah. And that was just my initial takeaway that I think launched that conversation. I was like, yeah, like I saw all this stuff, and actually speaking with a lot of these guys too, just or these folk, and just being like, yeah, like what. How'd you get here? Like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, this is my first time, and I really love this scene so much, which I think is actually such a wonderful point to kind of bring this into, is that I spoke to a number of people where they're just like, this is my first time showing here. Like, I love Designer Con, and I just wanted to be I wanted to be in the scene, but I didn't know what to do, so I just did something. I just made something, and I made something that was important to me, which was these things that I grew up with as a kid, and I remade these things to kind of reflect, but do my own take on them. And then that immediately kind of like, when you hear someone talk about that, you're like, I get it. Like, that's freaking cool, and good on you, man. Like, or good on you. So that was super fun having those conversations, because it's the passion. I could have walked around there all day, and then I could have gone. I actually thought about going back Sunday. I was like, can I make the drive? Like, I might, just to go and just shoot the breeze with a bunch more people.
Did we have anyone that didn't want to talk to us? Because you're saying how nice and social everything was.
Yeah.
Did we have anyone that wasn't?
No. As a matter of fact, I felt, even with me being the golden retriever I am on occasion, like not once did I ever get that type of feeling where I was like, oh, like I got the closest was like, I'm very busy, things are crazy, but like you still had that enthusiastic energy, like it's a con energy, like it's there, like that warmth, that electric, that everyone's super like on point, and everyone's like high interaction. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, JR. Like I didn't mean to cut you off with the pass. But
no, I was just going to read it. Like, it's a different type of show, because at a Comic-Con, you can be walking up and down Artist Alley and like, oh, hey, this artist really want to talk to, or really like their work. They might be busy on a commission. They might be trying to crank out some work so they can make some money. So they might not be as sociable as you might want them to be at that point. Yeah. Whereas at this show, most of the stuff people had was done. So like, they're trying to sell it. They're trying to move it.
Yeah.
So like, it almost got to the point where I'm like folding my arms over my badge, because like, hey, I just want to look at your stuff.
I just want to look.
Just let me look, and they're like, how are you? What are you with? Oh God, I have to talk myself up now.
Who are you pressed for?
Like it gets a little intimidating, because they're just so willing to, like, let's talk. Let me tell you about my thing. And it was definitely a show that I had to get used to in a multitude of reasons. With the people at the tables, like, actively, like, almost everyone was like, how are you? Look at my stuff. And don't get me wrong, when you go to a comic convention, you're still going to encounter that all the time. But sometimes you'll get like there's a sign on the table, signing at 4 p.m. and they're like busy sketching away, Yeah. So it's like, maybe leave them alone for now.
There were still signing times here too.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
My thing is the type of people who are vending here. I just get this feeling that I'm not as cool as them. like they know everyone. Everyone behind the table is super popular somehow.
So many people,
and they're friends with everyone else. And like, I'm just some schmuck.
You'll be standing there talking. And some random guy comes like, yo, what's up? And then they smack hands like, how you been? And it's like, I don't know who either of you are.
Well, it's like the. I mean, to kind of peel it back, we were joking about this earlier. Like, oh, I'm finally on. Oh, it's because because we went to a steampunk convention, right? Like, no, we didn't.
Yeah.
But you still got that same. I still had that same level of camaraderie. Like, it's still a convention scene where like you're seeing people that you don't normally see. You see them maybe once a year, maybe once every 2 years. And like everyone knows each other because they all make stuff and they're all part of the same groups and they all trade off on one another. And like it seemed very inclusive. Like I felt like I was.
Was it me?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because I feel like I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
At steampunk shows now.
Yeah.
Like I recognize a bunch of people. I don't know as many as you know, but like I don't feel put out or I don't feel awkward.
Sure.
Whereas here, like it just like I said, everyone was cooler than I was.
I never even thought like I just like talking to people, but I know what you mean. Like I felt almost intimidated in a little bit of a way because I'd be walking around and I'd be like, I would have this wonderful conversation with a person, very chill, very low key, and I'd walk around and be like, oh, I'm gonna follow him on Instagram. You have 157,000 followers on Instagram. Oh my god, like I got that happened to me almost every time. Every person I almost talked to.
We didn't even make it into that covered tent either. I don't even know what was going on in there.
Covered tent.
Off in the side cubby area, up where James Groman's stuff was.
Yes.
And there was like a dark tent, and there was a line to get in,
yeah.
And we never went back to that line.
Oh yeah.
To figure out what that was.
We only went in that cubby like once.
Yeah. Because the Outer Spacemen were there.
Yeah.
And I recognized them, and John bought one of their figures last year. Yeah. And I was like, time to introduce Jared to James Groman.
Yeah. James Groman was really cool. I liked his stuff, like his metal sloth. I was like, heck yeah.
And his King Corpse and all those. And I'm like,
yes.
Get ready for some prices. They're in 4 digits.
Yep.
But it's like, I'm not going to bother James Groman for any reason. I can't even say hi to the man.
I want to continue a little bit for a second about the type of show that 5 Points is.
Sure.
In my, not struggles, but it, having to adapt to this type of show. Because I've been to a couple different types. I've been to steampunk shows. I've been to, massive multi-genre shows like Kineticon, PAX, yada, yada, yada. This show is a little bit different. And one of the biggest challenges I faced at this show was figuring out who I'm talking to and who I'm buying from at the table, because you saw a lot of people sharing space.
Yeah.
So one table may have 2 completely different artists selling their stuff, but like it might be tough to tell like who you're talking to, which one you're buying from, and like whose product this is. There were a couple times where like I'm looking at a product and I'm like, I don't know which person behind the table I should talk to because I really like this, but I don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah.
Because like I might not be interested in the other stuff, but this thing's really cool to me. And I've never really had to like, we do that at conventions. The couple times that we've tabled, there's Brett on one side, and there's us on the other. But it's pretty easy because Brett has talent and we do not. So we can just direct to Brett, hey, look at Brett, we have a pin. No, it's not free. It's $5.
I want to say that's just when you just get blatant with it and point to the thing and go, who's this?
Right.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, come here, talk to this guy.
Yep.
I think there was a Kickstarter that just went live where there was an enamel pen set that they have, I'm the artist, not the artist.
I sent that to you guys.
Yes, you did. Yes.
Yes, I'm the artist. No, I'm not the artist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'd even be like...
Stretch goals one just said Booth Babe on it.
Yeah.
There were a couple times where we're talking to a guy, talking to a person about like the wares on their table, and like we start asking like the podcast questions, like, oh, where'd you get the idea for this, like, and then it's, oh, the creator, the artist, the designer, like, I'm just here selling it. This isn't mine.
Right.
This I'm just selling the product. I can tell you about the design. Like, the designer's not even there. So like you could be halfway through a conversation only to find out like you're talking to an employee, So that was took a little getting used to as well.
Because like within our first hour, I pointed out there was a vendor booth, which was just like, it was basically a booth that's just selling all the toys, all the figures, all the statues. But they might have statues of people who have booths there.
Right.
So you could go to Tara McPherson's booth, but Tara McPherson's stuff is also at this other table.
Say it again, Tara
McPherson.
Right.
Thank you. Sorry. Her website is Cotton Candy Machine, which really surprises you when you don't know what's being charged to your credit card.
And she's, from what I understand and from what her presence was, she seems like a BFD.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
A big friggin' deal in this community.
She routinely she routinely has articles in High Fructose magazine, Juxtapose, which are the big lowbrow, newbrow or publications out. You know, bookstore.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep. I had to put those all the time.
Yeah, I normally would run into you
because
there
I
too.
pull out High Fructose and I'm like, oh, this is a cooking magazine, and then I scan it and it's like, no, this is art.
Yep. But yeah, like yeah.
And so on top of that, there's also people who are modding other designers' figures.
Yep.
So now all of the helmets from Quick that I see on 5 different tables.
Now, because I didn't get this at first. Explain what a helmet is.
I don't know, dude.
Because like, it's not just a helmet. It's like
it was a specific design.
It's a character,
right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the character's Quick or the character's Tech. I haven't researched it well enough because it's so deep, and I'm not in the I'm not like in the community.
He just had a show at My Plastic Heart in New York like maybe a month ago, where a bunch of like he made like the original ones that he had made like went to auction, and like they were going for like auction prices. Like people were, it was amazing. It's the closest like window I've seen until I'd like inside like what the fine art gallery place would be. Like everyone's like on Instagram. I'm going through like 18 different live stories on Instagram of being like, I got 500 for this one, 600, and someone's like, someone from Australia just put in for 8. You're just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
And this is the guy with the line. He was signing toys like, and there was a line like 50 people deep waiting.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was the one we're talking about.
He had the Mr. Self-Indulgence, right?
That was the booth,
right?
But that's not the same design.
Because there was someone at that booth signing toys at one point. To a very large line,
and there's like, at least 4 different models of that character too,
right?
Which was just posted either today or yesterday or just this past weekend. But that's one of those things where other artists will repaint it or do a custom paint on it.
Yep.
And then they're selling it. And it's like, oh, is this your figure? No, it's not their figure, but they painted it. It's someone else's design. And I just like the way we could talk about writers, pencilers, inkers, and colorists in comic books at Comic Cons. Like we have a better idea of how that, or at least me and Jared do. I'm not sure how if you're more spread out, Brett, but
a little bit. Like I liken it to like the hip hop like remix generate like remix type of thing where it's like this is my mix, this is my take on this thing that's already made. Is because most artists when they come out with something, they'll come out with blanks to give them to other artists so then they can do their own thing, and then they put those out there, which is why Dunnies which is one of the major aspects why Dunnies have become such a big thing that helped Kid Robot rise to where they are now.
See, but I just don't know the difference from the original artist from the remixer.
Right.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean,
if that's the best explanation I could give.
But that's what, and that's what it is. I mean, and sometimes that's just part of like that culture, because it's there's producers and then there's remixers, and then you have like the people who do it all, and then the people who will just do their repaints or their own versions of specific other artists. That's why the community's so tight, because you're like, I know you did a remix on my limited edition 50 the other day, and you're like, that's amazing. And that's why. It
does seem a little kind of like a shift. Like, if you do that to an artist's work, like in a comic, I feel like that might be a little like, hey man, can you not rip my shit off, please?
If you swipe or trace,
you're
in trouble.
But if you do an homage, that's where that's okay.
You just got to call it that.
Yeah,
like
you
homage,
you got to make sure it's after. Like you add the after.
Exactly. People will sign it like, oh, I drew this after John Romita Jr. JR or something like that.
Yep.
And but like here, it's like
that's the one you went with.
The initial. He has good initials. What can I say?
Right.
Real good initials. Top tier initials.
Call it the way you see it.
So, but like, it's a little more like, it's almost more accepted, and like, it's not seen as swiping. It's more seen as like a tribute. Or
and a sense of community.
Yeah.
And half the time, that's what they're getting asked to do or getting paid to do. Because unless I'm incorrect, all those skull flowers that were at Strange Cat, they're all Terry McPherson's, right? Did she design the original skull flower?
I don't know. You're talking to someone who got into the scene about 72 hours ago.
Because she had skull flowers last year,
right?
That were like her design that I hadn't seen any other versions of.
Right, and now they're kind of everywhere.
And this year's Strange Cat had like a lot of really high priced customs. I'm not saying the prices were merited, but there was a lot of work done on them, and a lot of them looked gorgeous in very different
some
ways.
of the prettiest, and that's we'll get into that in a little bit. The different types of product that you'll see, and like, but the getting used to like the like, because my first reaction was like, wow, they just took someone's product and like painted over it. Like, what? That's not
that's
not
buy from them
bad.
first.
Yeah.
Oh, what? I freaked out because Quick had. I saw one of Quick's Ravagers there, and Ravagers was one of the ones that was on my plastic cart that like it was so awesome. Like yeah, those were super fun. But yeah, and like I mean, and Quick's is a really good example. But there are like what Quick does. Quick's. I'm gonna be an idiot and mess up his name. I'm so sorry.
QUICC.
Yes, Quick. Thank you.
I don't think there's an S on the end of it.
All right. Yeah, I'm just tired.
If you look up on Instagram, it's there.
But yeah, like that's just part of the culture. I mean,
other points that, quick things about the actual convention itself. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
You just expect the side, like, you see that it's at the Brooklyn Exhibition Center.
The Expo Center?
Expo, yeah. Like when you think Expo Center, you think pretty massive building. It was, I mean, I'm not saying it was small, but it was one of the smaller conventions that I've been to. But at no point was it ever, oh God, I can't move. It's too crowded in here. It was like, it got warm because there's a lot of bodies in one place, and it actually got pretty warm in the city, but it was comfortable. Like, I wasn't like, oh God, I need a place to sit right now. I need to get out of here. It was even outside at the pin yard. That's what it is.
Yo.
Tons of room to walk around. You could watch the live graffiti with plenty of room to spare. You didn't have to get, it wasn't so packed that you were like smelling fumes.
You're choking on paint.
Yeah. It was a very comfortable show, despite being a little bit smaller than I had anticipated.
Like I told you, you can do a full lap in like a half hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you speed walk it, and then you could be done. But then like you got to come back through each aisle at least 2 more times because you missed something the first time.
Oh heck.
Oh yeah. It's the amount of stuff that was there and available, and we went like 6 hours into the show we kept missing one complete aisle, and like we were getting ready to go, and I was like, oh hey man, we haven't done this aisle yet.
Yeah.
There's potentially hundreds of dollars that are just waiting to be spent.
Same thing. I said the same. Like same thing. You're like, we're gonna do one more rep, and I was like, all right, okay, cool. I mean, I'll totally do it again. And then I was like, wait, what's this? I missed that too. Like,
I believe I bought the only thing that I bought for myself on our last lap.
Yes.
And I hadn't seen it on any of the previous laps.
Yeah, we were down the aisle before.
Yep. But it's a very comfortable show. And like wrapping up the kind of like convention as a whole.
We also didn't make it to the panel room either.
No.
We did not. Yeah, there were, and like you said, the panels tripled this year. Last year there were.
Because I believe there was just one per day last year.
Right.
Yeah. And they had 3 Saturday.
One thing while I'm looking through it, good program.
Yeah.
Very informative program. You got all your ads. There's a dictionary, Designer Toys 101. So like if you're unfamiliar, it has a bunch of examples. It has a designer toy dictionary. So when people say things like Neo Kaiju or Test Po or Paint Master.
I'm actually going to hold on to this and not accidentally lose it 3 months from now. Like this is going to be in my collection. Yep.
You got your map.
Some good learnings. Brush up.
You have your, it had the panel schedule in there.
It's high quality. It's like a comic book.
The graffiti schedule too.
The graffiti schedule, so you could see who was. It was like there was some contests going on.
Yep.
Every hour.
I love that.
From 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. there was graffiti contests happening. We got to witness one of them between Grace Lang and Ramiro Studios, and it's a, for what it's worth. I mean, this is the most boring content ever. Real good program, and it's tiny. You can probably fit it in your pocket. Like it's good stuff. No wasted. Like, oh, what is this book that I'm carrying around?
Yeah.
It is all the stuff that you would need to make your way through the convention.
I find myself hovering around the live painting more than anything else. Like
Why? I don't. What?
Yeah, I loved it. Like I saw J Corp and I watched Butts Up versus Mike Altman, and that one was really fun. I really liked Mike's entry on that one. I don't know if he won or not, but man, that was fun.
I like Butts Up art reminds me of like Cuphead.
Yeah,
like that vintage cartoonish style,
rubber hose style.
Yeah. Yep.
The difference between Saturday and Sunday, because it seems like they brought a lot more paint to each canvas on Sunday.
Right.
If you were able to check any of the Insta posts or live videos or anything. They like because they were each had about 6 cans on Saturday, and in front of each piece of wood.
Well, I think Saturday was the art contest, and then Sunday was just more
Sunday
exhibition.
is just people painting, it looks like, whereas...
There was at least like 20, 30 cans on the ground in front of those things.
Yeah.
When you got someone like Dave Tevenall that's like a master of the craft. Like he just like this. Did you see his entry? Oh my God, it was amazing.
Was that the face?
Yeah, the blue,
there was one really good face.
Yeah, with like almost like a samurai helm, I think.
No, that's not the one I saw.
No, okay.
Anyway, but
so let's.
Maybe I might be.
We're already flying through
I didn't
this.
see all of them.
Yeah.
I want to talk because there's a lot to talk about in terms of vendors. Even if it's just, I saw this one thing because I have a stack of business cards, and the thing with this is it's kind of hard to remember who was who.
Yeah.
Because you're talking with someone, you see this unique thing, and then later on you look at the business card and it's like, wait, what? There's nothing on here that tells me what this person was selling.
You're gonna have to actually look them up now.
Which I have tabs open on my internet.
I was internalizing most of my purchases in my downtime today, so I can't show it. It's that one on the left with the purple.
That one.
It's partial. Yeah. But yeah, I love that one so much. Like it's crazy.
Let's start with Brett and I were at a table. Jar was there too.
Was I?
And we were looking at some pens, and there was a really good Grim Reaper with a scythe.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell Brett wanted to buy it, and I kind of wanted to buy it.
Yep.
But neither of us were making the first move.
No.
And the two of us being spooky boys who like dead things.
Yep.
At one point, we just look at each other, and I go, "You gonna?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "All right, me too."
Yeah, the wallets instantly came out simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Money was thrown around, and then you both walked away with Reaper pins.
They were awesome.
And that was the chop from Pete Sketches.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Pete Sketches was
Me
until
neither.
JR messages me at 1 a.m. going, "Do you know who Pete Sketches is?" And I'm like, "No, JR, I don't. What? I don't even." And then he sends me a picture of Crod competing in Super Art Fight many years ago. If you've been listening, we love Super Art Fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Crod was one of the competitors at our first viewing of them. He was wearing a giant kaiju costume of a dinosaur alien monster. And he's like, "That's Pete Sketches." And I was like,
Yep.
"No."
I knew it sounded familiar as soon as I saw I didn't make any connections while you guys were buying it. But when you had posted the pictures on our Instagram, that opinions may vary on Instagram, all one word. And I saw the Pete Sketches, and I was like, fuck. And it was literally like 2 a.m. It was real early. I was like, I know that name. And a quick Google search validated my suspicions. So
check out more of his stuff.
Yes, it's very neat.
He's got some good stuff.
I'm pulling up all of my websites here frantically while you guys are talking about this.
I went to, there was a couple, I might give myself a problem. I'm going to say girly booths.
Okay.
One was Nana Williams.
Yep, Nana Williams. I bought
And
stuff from her too.
She had some nice pins. She had jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so much into that jewelry just because I'm a hairy dude.
Yeah.
But like many of my friends would be interested in, like, she had a really cool bat necklace.
Yep.
And I was like, if that bat was a pin, I'd be all over it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did buy a sassy bat pin from her. A different
That
kind
Baphomet patch design that she had.
She had good patches.
I asked her, I was like, "Are you gonna make that a pin?" She's like, "Yeah, but I have the Krampus." I'm like, "I don't need. Please make the Baphomet." I'm not. It wasn't Baphomet specifically, but
Mhm.
it was like it was an
It
evil
was a
goat.
demon face thing.
Yeah, and there is a name for it, and I cannot remember it. It started with a T, but yeah, like I like talking to her, and I'm actually wearing the pin right now. I wore it. I have my weird little pin shirt that I wear now, and put it. And it's like a skull with like eyes and with an eye painted in the middle, and
Are those flowers too?
Yeah, definitely falls in line with some of the stuff I've been drawing lately.
Mhm.
And I like it because the metal that it's made. It's like almost looks like a rose, like it's like a light pink metal enamel, which
Yeah.
I've never seen before. And I was like, I like that because I've never seen it before. It's not gold, it's not silver, it's just weird enough. And I was like, I like that. I'm getting that.
Yeah, I liked her stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy all of it, but
No.
if I brought an SO with me, then I'd be buying stuff for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was, I don't have the name in front of me. There was one outside too in the pin yard who was similar. She had a lot of pink.
Oh,
Like there were girly buttons and there were patches.
Yep.
And like there was a really nice decorative bat patch. And again, like I would buy this for my SO or whatever. And there was like pins that were close to something I would get, but I wasn't quite there. But I really, it's nice to, so it's not like a male inclusive show. Like girls all have something to find there too.
It just, everyone has, like, I liked the breadth of work because like I got to see work that was across the gamut from like every like I wanted, if I wanted to see pretty things, I could see pretty things. If I wanted to see scary things, I could see scary things. If I wanted to see pins, saw that. If I wanted to see like heavy metal stuff, there was that in kind. I wanted to see punk. I wanted to see hip hop. I wanted to see anything.
Some of these things are described as ugly.
Yeah,
there's a lot of ugly figures there, but that's their purpose.
Mm-hmm. Second, I'm almost there. Nope. Not the Graveyard Rave, but I did like the Graveyard Rave a lot. They had they had these really fun pins that were like little boba teas and like they looked like little drinks, but they were all gothy and stuff like that. Yeah, they had the one. It was a ghoul. I can't remember.
Ghoul Gang Slaughters.
Nope. What is that word? Ghoul. A fresh out. No, that was just really. It was just really fun. Like they just had a really nice pins. But once again,
I've been tracking nightlife pins for a while.
Yep.
Probably over a year. And I've been paying attention. Like every time a new Thanos comes out, I was like, I kind of want a Thanos. And then like one sells out, they make a version 2 Thanos. I was like, maybe I want version 2. And they were up to version 5 last I checked.
Damn.
And I don't think it was the maker there, but like maybe a worker or relative just showed us the brand new design for, or like a new colorway for their Doctor Strange pin.
Mm-hmm.
And that looked amazing because it was this green and white. Jared and I both bought pins from them. I don't remember what I got. What did I got? Is it up there?
I got the Mario pin as a replacement. A while back, I had gotten some blind boxes from Penny Arcade that had Mario pins in them, and my wife had one of them on her jacket. Unfortunately, it was lost. Despite it being a double-backed pin, it still managed to pop off. So I picked up a Mario in the frog suit pin that they had for her.
I got the screaming skeleton.
Yes, you got the enraged skeleton.
Yeah.
It's just like, what do you do? It's the meme, the skeleton, like, like what?
It's only 230 days to Halloween.
I actually got to meet someone that I've been buying pins from for a little while. A friend of mine, Jeremy, not to be confused with our illustrious JR that's on my right side, but Jeremy Caldwell of the Pin Stash. And I got to hang out with him. I've been talking with him. He runs the Pin Stash Facebook group, and that's a real fun. That's a fun.
Oh, that group is his.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is him. He is Pin Stash because he has a mustache.
Right.
As you would. I wanted to like make sure like I wanted to. Yeah. Like I was like, oh, Alex, beard bros. Yeah.
Yeah. So those groups, I just figure they're all just nameless entities.
Yeah,
like they're just a ghost runs it. I never attribute it like a person is behind it.
Well, I introduce you to one who runs one, my friend. But yeah, like he's a really cool guy. He's a really cool dude. And I never met him before, so it was really fun. Like that was like my one like event, a moment where I was like, oh, I'm going to see someone that I've had conversation with. And yeah, it was really fun just shooting the breeze with him, and like we're just talking shop about a couple things. And I already bought a bunch of his pins, so like there were a couple others that I should have gone back and bought, but then I got distracted.
By the time we wandered over, it seemed like you guys were old friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea that was the first time you guys had actually met in person.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought that you guys have hung out before. Yeah. But he had some of the best pins there. There was a little bit of everything for everybody.
What I liked was how much of his stuff was collaborations.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was like putting out designs other people had made and just working with a lot of people, so it was a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
And he showed that like he puts their names on the back of the pins.
Their names or their handles were on the board where you would buy it. So you point it and I go, I want this Gundam, and you could tell like who designed that Gundam head.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
No, he's not like taking credit where it's not.
Once again, it reinforces the idea of community that is with 5 points, which is why like everyone knows everyone, because everyone's like, oh, I did artwork for you. Oh, I bought one of your limited editions. Oh, like you bought something for me because you also make things and you like this stuff too, and like everyone knows each other eventually.
I recognize that name style. Yeah, you should.
As far as other pin, if we're talking about pins right now,
Sure.
nerd pins had pretty much something for everyone. Some of them just very generic, like here's an April Ludgate pin. It's April Ludgate's face, which a lot of people would want.
That's kind of, I bought my $1 million belt.
Yep. Where else are you going to find $1 million belt?
Right.
Yeah.
You can keep it if you lose by, no. If you win by DQ, you still get the belt.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's the trick. Because any other WWE belt, if you get DQ'd, you just keep it.
Unless it's like a no DQ match.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But they had like a Dairy Boy, from It. You could buy an eggplant, and it's just basic pins, something for everyone. There's something in there that's going to tickle one of your nostalgia buttons. You don't tickle a button.
I was looking for some spoopy pins, and I found one from Beyond. Like From Beyond definitely hit it. Like that was the pin that it was like the last pin I got of the day. It's the one with the eyeball with like the purple tentacles coming out of a window that glows in the dark.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm totally getting that one.
Yeah, From Beyond had some creepy stuff.
Do you favor the glow stuff?
I'm kind of indifferent, but like if it's done if it's handled in a clever way, like I definitely like really enjoy it. But if something glows or not, that's not gonna make it or break it for me.
Because the same pin that we got with the chop with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah,
I purposely wanted the one that doesn't glow.
Okay,
and you picked the one that did glow.
I did.
Yeah,
good to know. I'll be sure to wear it more often at night.
From going real quick back to that nerd pins, that's where you picked up the Henry Rollins. Did you get the Henry Rollins pin? You didn't get it? Oh, no. I thought I saw you buy it.
Nope. I looked at it. There wasn't enough there for me.
Right.
I would have wanted a bit more, and I already have his back tattoo that's a pin.
Got it. Because I was just about to say, where else are you going to find a Henry Rollins pin?
There, I did.
You already
have.
There
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, his whole back, seek and destroy tattoo.
Got it.
I got that, I got that, and like the design wasn't calling out to me. Yep.
I got the last one. I got 4 pins, and I felt like I thought I bought more, but I actually bought more non-pin stuff. Actually, I got a lot of like art and like books and artwork from people.
Oh, yeah?
I kind of treated it more like how I treated Zine Fest up in East Hampton a couple months ago, where like I'll just run through and be like, "That's cool, I'm buying it. That's cool, I'm buying it," and all that fun stuff. But I did get one last pin. It was from it was the cardboard booth gentleman. I did not get his card.
Blamamas?
Yes, Blamahamas.
Mamas.
Yeah. Him. I got one with the skeleton with the
Oh,
solo
yeah,
cup
yeah.
coming out of the coffin. I like that one a lot.
I was on the fence about that.
Yeah.
But just the fact that I don't drink, I was like, I don't need him with a. If he had anything else, I'd be.
Yeah.
If he had a knife or something,
Right. Well, actually, that reminds me. Speaking of, like, we found one. I actually purposely got this card. It's not pin related. I don't know if we're bouncing all over the place, or am I just derailing?
We're talking vendors.
All right.
let me come back to that one.
Yeah. All right.
While we're at Blamamas.
Yeah. I love that booth. That was top 10 favorite.
It's all in the
booths I've
trash
ever
now
seen.
too.
Oh yeah. That hurts too.
He listened to last year's episode because I had a lot of fun there. I like this stuff. He just makes everything out of cardboard.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wanted to shake his hand just to figure out how strong his wrists must be.
Or like how calloused, like just see if it breaks skin just because like he's just so like
how good of forearms do you have to cut that much cardboard?
Yeah, right.
With seamless edges.
Mm-hmm.
Because mine just look like garbage. That's just everything phrased. It's a mess, and he has really clean edges for however he makes all of his stuff. And he's there selling cardboard. I'm not putting it down, but he's next to figures that are selling for $200, $500.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, this is $15, man. If you want it or not, get the hell away from my booth.
I just imagine he has an X-Acto knife blade the size of a paper football.
And part of the fun of his booth is him and his attitude.
Oh, yeah.
Because I go in, it's like, everyone wants to be nice, please buy my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't care if you buy his stuff.
Yeah.
And once you do, he'll tell you to get the hell away from his booth and don't come back.
We're done here.
But that's part of the charm.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you so delightfully smashed the social structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His stuff was very difficult to not buy. Very unique product. Kind of, you don't see it anywhere else. There were no other vendors like him.
Right.
but it's still, it's like, yeah, a lot of it's cardboard, but some of it is also going to be quality stuff.
Mhm.
And also the experience of chatting with him. He's a really cool guy. He does not take himself too seriously. Like, I took a picture. We're going to be posting the pictures very soon. Actually, by the time this is up, they'll probably already be posted. So you can see it online, usually on Facebook, facebook.com/opinions may vary. He took a restroom break. He popped a sign in front of his thing that said restroom break. Don't steal my shit while I'm taking a piss. And because like all of his stuff was there, but it's again a cardboard sign that is already better than anything I could ever make in my life. But his stuff was just very cool. There was a little bit of you could buy like a little banner that says "eat shit" on it. You could buy, you could do the lottery like Alex talked about last year. You could buy even pencils. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you follow his Instagram, he'll do live posts of people playing the lottery game.
Yep.
And see if they're winners or losers. I also bought 2 magnets. It's like I did the same thing last year, where it's like I'm going to start and I'm going to build on my pile, and I'll let you know when I'm done. We'll add it all up, because I'm not going to buy.
It was literally a pile.
I'm not going to buy just one thing. It's like I want the puking cat. It's called More Blood for My Master. And
that's right.
I bought one last year. I wanted the matching one this year because he has 2 different versions.
Sweet.
And I also got like an air freshener that says, I think mine says "eat shit" or "piss off" on it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got a couple magnets. One says #1 ugly. And it's the kind of stuff that you might see at a craft fair, but they're not as witty and they're not as good.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like, he's gonna move a lot more product than the person who has 5 figures at $300 a piece.
At a craft fair, you'll see something that says "eat shit" with like an emoji and an exclamation point after it.
But they're printed out and taped on kind of badly,
Yeah.
and like he actually drew his.
Yep. Whereas this is just like "eat shit." Like it has a different attitude to it,
Yeah.
and like again the experience of actually chatting with him. He's a really cool guy, very funny, but you don't feel like an idiot. It's just he was a good guy.
And once
He lived up to the hype.
Yeah. Once you find his style and you watch his posts, like he'll travel around and like put his little cardboard ghosty like in the wild somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And like he'll just take a picture of one of these things like at a building, or like if he does, he might get a mural job and he'll paint some of the stuff. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. He could have participated in the graffiti contest.
Yeah. I believe it.
I would like to see that sometime.
I snagged a couple things, or I wanted to snag a couple things. I ended up snagging one thing from Big Purple Glasses. That's what the card says.
Cool.
I snagged something for my wife because, again, it was a something that hits the nostalgia buttons. And I'm just pulling up the website now. And they had a lot of like, one of the thing that caught my eye was they had pennant flags.
Right.
So like you see in like a comic shop or like a sports store or something like that, you see like the triangular flags of like your favorite sports team. Yeah, 19 whatever Yankees winning, blah blah.
They used to make circus ones too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I say yep like I know what you're talking about, but I don't. And they had a bunch for just pop culture. They had one for like Beetlejuice. They had one for Jesse and the Rippers from Full House.
You and I spent a good couple minutes just like being like, oh, look at that one.
Yep.
No, we'll do look at that one.
They had one the Killer Tofu Tour 93
From the Beats.
The Beats from Doug. That was the band that they all like idolized.
Killer Tofu.
Yep. And also I Need More Allowance.
And Where's My Sock?
And
I have no idea what's that.
didn't they do the dog rap too? Or was that just a song on Doug? I can't remember. Either way, but they had one for Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, which my wife is a very big Muppets fan. She loves the Muppets, and I'm always looking for Muppets merch for her. But I'm sitting here thinking, what's she gonna do with a pennant? What's she gonna do with we don't know where to put that. So, but they also had like magnets. They had prints. They had a little bit of everything. They had pins as well. And I ended up finding a small Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem magnet that my wife promptly put on the fridge. Because you can never have too much Dr. Teeth merch. But looking at their website, all the stuff that I was looking at there's t-shirts, prints, more of those pennant flags. Like there's a lot of those flags, and they're really neat. There's kind of something for everyone there.
Yeah.
But that stuff was very cool. That was Big Purple Glasses, and the website is simply just bigpurpleglasses.com. Very cool stuff. It hits all the, we're all suckers for nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to find something there that you might like.
First lap around, I stopped walking to come back to a booth that I had passed. And immediately the guy behind the table recognized me. We said hi, we shook hands because I bought a t-shirt off him, not last year, because he had a shirt that I liked. It's not an aesthetic that I would normally wear, but I dug how the design was made.
Sure.
And he didn't have my size.
Huh.
Because for a lot of the runs, they do like limited runs and they're numbered. So like this is 1 out of 100 or 88 out of 100. And they're out of my size. And I was like, that's a shame because that's the one I would have bought that I think I could actually pull off and not look weird in. But just, you meet people, you follow them online, you find their Insta, you watch their posts. And then at one point it comes up, hey, we found some old product. If anyone's interested, ask me if we have it. Yeah. And I was like, yo, this one here, you got that in XL? And he's like, we do actually. And I was like, want. And we even arranged when he would put it up for sale so I could be the first one to get it with no one else happening to happen upon it and buy it out from under me.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so we ran into him. We said, hi, we shook hands. And I was like, I bought a shirt. And I was here last year. He's like, we chatted about it. Yeah. And I put it out to Jared. And like, Jared knows that's not my style. Also because they have very good looking models modeling their stuff, and I don't fit any of their aesthetics either.
I was surprised when you're like, hey, do you have this in large? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, who's he buying that for? It's not for him.
But that was Sukiban. That was really cool. Follow them, follow their apparel. They make a bunch of clothes.
Sure.
It was really neat. I respect people who put stuff on the back of t-shirts. I like stuff on the back of a t-shirt. I don't think people do that enough nowadays.
Yeah.
And like these, as Alex was talking, and I was just like, I wasn't interested in the product to begin with. But then when I started looking at it, I was like, oh okay, I could buy a lot of this actually. So I get it.
And we talked for less than 10 minutes last year at the same show. And he recognized me.
Dang.
So
you're recognizable.
So that, well, I'm contributing to the, to them doing their job, recognizing their fans and just being able to network well. Yeah. So that was a good experience. That was fun. Check them out.
Yeah.
We got to meet Joseph Schmalke for the first time. I don't think we've met him before. He's the guy that works with Rich Riddle a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of, actually, I picked up this thing that was drawn by him, I guess.
You bought Electric Black?
Picked up issue 1 of Electric Black.
We talked about that with Rich just a couple
weeks ago. Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, oh my God. I see. Like, I've been wanting to pick it up too, so I'm really glad I bought it. I bought it at 5 Points Fest.
Yeah. Well, that must have been 373-ish, 372 maybe.
Yeah.
We addressed that on Rich's Kickstarter episode. Because Rich has number
373.
I got it.
Nice.
I have one coming to me with my Kickstarter order. And I asked our local comic shop to get me number 2.
Cool.
But yeah, we got to meet him for the first time. We said hi.
Sweet.
His coffee table book of monsters came out, and that was something he kickstarted back in February. It's already printed. There you go.
That's awesome.
He did it.
Heck yeah.
Can we talk about kind of the, I don't want to say the highlight, but one of the more significant.
There was a couple highlights.
I want to talk about, I don't know the fellow's name off the top of my head. Yes, you.
Paul Jackson.
Probably.
Paul Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got
the
prints that
with
I bought.
the Jaws and
yes,
and with the Mr. T-1000.
Yeah.
Him and his booth mate as well. Abandoned ship apparel.
I had no idea he was going to be there. I did.
Which
not know.
one?
Really?
Paul Jackson.
Paul Jackson.
Awesome.
I follow
so
him.
You
on
knew of Paul Jackson before this?
Oh, yep.
Okay.
I follow him on Insta because it's when you're trying to. I follow people because at some point, hopefully, we'll talk to him.
Yep.
And it's not so much always. I like his art, but I don't follow a lot of artists just for that sake. Because I try to be realistic and follow people who maybe someday they could talk to us and then I could pitch them to other people.
Yeah.
Which means if they're too popular already, they don't need us. But he just makes a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Last year there were figures of his work because he had a monkey head statue. He wasn't there vending, but like other vendors had it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a monkey head, and the face comes off, and Darwin is inside of the head piloting it. And so this is part of a series that he has. He's done Quint's Revenge, and so it's Quint from Jaws inside of a great white shark, and it looks like he's like driving this mechanical shark, basically.
Meticulously illustrated, might I add.
It's to the point now. So I bought 2 prints for myself, and I haven't taken a lot of time to look at them in detail.
Yeah.
Because over the next 5 months, I'm going to be looking at them and picking out something new every time.
Yeah.
Right.
There's enough detail in them where like I don't want to take it all in right now. I want to experience this for as long as possible. And like even if my friend can point something out to me that like I haven't seen yet, that'll psych me out. It'll be great.
Yeah.
He just does gorgeous art. And I want to talk to him in the future, get him on an episode, because the amount of stuff that he's drawing well, I can't tell if he's using a lot of reference or if he has like a photographic memory. And just like the amount of skull series that he has. He does a lot of like animals and their faces, but their skull is like dripping out of their head. It's not gross. It's not bloody and disgusting.
Yeah.
It's just they're just separating seamlessly, and they end up looking kind of gorgeous. And he's done, I don't know, like 30 or 50 of these things maybe, and different animals. And
It's an impressive list. Yeah.
oh, there's a lot
It's a good one.
on top of like all his revenge series. Between he's got a Disney's Revenge and Hammond's Revenge, where Hammond from Jurassic Park is inside of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he's like piloting that. And I also bought a Lovecraft piece from him where an octopus is inside of Lovecraft's head, like that's what his brain is.
That's awesome. Have I not seen that one?
It's over there somewhere. Yeah, we'll look at it later.
Yeah.
And he lives in Canada. He's Australian. Super great guy.
Yeah.
So I stopped. Walking by, I stopped, and I was like, "You're the guy." And he's like, "Yep, I'm the guy," with a classy accent. And
shook each of our hands.
He just started talking to
3
us.
separate occasions.
Yeah.
Each time.
Which means we didn't get the hint twice.
It was each time was firm handshakes.
Yeah, he
firm gentleman handshakes. I respect that.
It was it was very awesome talking to him and just shooting the breeze. It's like, you want to talk about talking to somebody that you feel like you've known your entire life. Like I felt like we just picked up I picked up a conversation that I'd never left off with him before. It was awesome. He was a really cool dude.
At first, when talking was starting to happen, I wanted to keep walking, but I wanted to walk with my friends, so I was turning pissy pants. And I'm like, come on, let's go.
We gotta see the whole show.
And then when the conversation ended, Paul had to go run. He had to go take care of some business. And at that point in my head, I was, no, I want to keep talking. So it goes to like, and that takes a lot for me. When I get pissy pants, my pissy pants tend to stay on. Usually it's because I need food. But that was a lot of, and he did have a booth mate there who, unfortunately, we didn't get to chat with him very much. He was, I don't even know if they were booth mates or if they just happened to be next to each other, sharing the same space. But there was,
I think they're friends,
right?
Yeah.
Abandoned ship apparel, which immediately caught my eye because the gentleman had giant prints of like tarot cards. And while I'm not one for divination, I'm not one for New Age or tarot. I think tarot card designs are dope.
Yeah.
I love them.
I'm all about that occult aesthetic.
It's just
light.
There's
Occult light.
Right. They're so cool. There's one that like I've even been debating getting tattooed on me.
What?
Not because I don't relate to it. It's just because I think the design is rad. And he had these big beautiful prints of them. He also had some great clothing. Looks like I'm on his website now, which is Abandoned Ship Apparel.
I purposely didn't look at his shirts because I would have bought one.
Yeah,
I had to conserve it.
His shirts are great, and I'm kind of regretting not snagging one because his stuff looks to be pretty good quality, and also a lot of it made me laugh. Like he has a couple things. His one of his slogans seems to be "Not everything sucks." And you can buy that it like on a hat. You can buy it like on
That's
some
an important
sunglasses.
sentiment to have.
Yeah.
Yep. He has a print that says it's okay not to be okay. A hat that says never not sad. And just some really cool stuff. Like, you can, there's there's a print with like a giant multi-tiered sailing ship, you know, like Will has a tattooed on his chest.
Yeah.
Really, really clean merch, which I'm sad that I didn't give more attention to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like there's so much awesome shit all in one place.
We had already hung out at that booth for at least a half hour, maybe.
It was a long time. But that stuff's really, and you can see it all. I'm on the website now. Again, that's all one word: abandonsshipapparel.com.
And it's not a real word, but man, Paul Jackson is like the properest gentleman. Within 10 minutes, we put him on a tier that we reserve for a man that we've known for 5 years.
A legend, if you will.
Yeah.
But very cool people, very cool merch. It's like it's a pleasure to give them money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and even though some of the better things that I'm just like, yeah, I wish I bought them from them. It's like, what? Well, I know where to find them. Thanks to the guide, I can go online and I can seek them out and I can buy their stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's all about. Actually, I was super happy. One of my fun moments that I got to see like a full story arc happen on my Saturday.
Yeah.
Where Babs and I were walking around for the first, when we split off, right when we first got in, because I had to buy my ticket, and we just took a quick walk around. Babs was just kind of getting oriented with the area, just trying to figure things out. She's like, "This isn't steampunk. There aren't cogs everywhere. Where do I go from here?" But we stumbled across this one person, 7 sketches. Huge, like it had a whole bunch of sticker sets, like very impressive collection of just designs that he has, and he flew over from Hawaii, so Hawaii to Brooklyn for this show.
Good Lord,
yeah, and he was in the running for the art competition, and he was super he was very much looking forward to it. He's like, oh, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, I haven't really done too much of it, so I hope I do okay. And he's just a really awesome, very enthusiastic person. Mm-hmm. And then later on the day, he won his round. Nice. And then he came back and there were people interviewing him, and he was just standing around just being super I was so happy. I came up and was like, dude, did you win? And he was like, yeah, man, I won. And I was like, oh, sweet, dude, you rock. It was really awesome, seeing someone that happy. And so I'm really glad. Shout out to 7 Sketches. It was really fun seeing his progress throughout the day. He had a very good day, at least from what I saw.
While we're on numbers,
yeah,
that reminds me of Fifth Turtle.
Oh yeah,
because he worked a bit with 3D Hero, who has his own episode last week. Mm-hmm. And one of the pieces he was working on that I had saw when I was watching his Instagram was this little this don't recall what kind of an anglerfish.
Oh yeah.
Because Fifth Turtle designed it and he casts them and he produces them, and its name is Angie.
Nice,
Angie Angler.
I like that
because I had to look it up and get the name for it.
I love it.
And
that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Alex had regrets.
He had some that were double casted, which means he cast a skeleton and then was able to cast the fish around it, and it was resin and see-through. Ooh. So you could see the skeleton inside of the fish.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he only had about 5 of them, and one of them had a trap jaw that he painted metal.
Oh, and you went back and you're like, oh.
And they were gone when I went back.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have waited.
Still ended up picking one up.
I got one of the airbrush ones.
One of the airbrush ones.
Yeah.
But he's an up-and-coming designer, caster. He had a few other things. He had a little Reaper hoodie dude. It looked like a skull with a figure.
Nice. Which Fifth Turtle? You made that joke before, and I was like, and I kind of shook it off, but I was like, yeah, which one? Was it Metalhead or is it Venus from the next mutation? And no one.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, is it Dark Leo? No,
probably.
Yeah, Slash? No,
Slash was never one of those.
Well, he
was a bad guy.
Nah, that's fair.
Anyway,
couple more.
Anyway. But he was cool.
Yeah,
and that was the only figure that I bought.
I bought one figure, bought one thing for myself. I expected going in thinking I was going to buy a dozen pins, and that's pretty much it.
Same.
I ended up buying a pin for my wife, but I bought no pins for myself. There were a lot of pins that I really liked, but nothing really kind of jumped out at we were talking about earlier, nothing that I had to have. so I was saving my money for the thing that I, kind of needed to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one thing that jumped out at me, it was toward the end of the show. We passed by Alex Solis, Solis, Solis. Unsure if I'm butchering this.
The first trip, we looked at some art and a bunch of his pins.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of focused what I saw first before I looked at everything else on this table. Because it's like, look, it's War Turtle. No, it's Blastoise, but it's actually King Koopa. It's Bowser holding Blastoise helmet like he's wearing the costume.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a lot of those. There's a lot of like characters wearing other characters as
They're
costumes.
unmasked according to
Yeah.
like what they like. There's one. It's Patrick Starfish from SpongeBob SquarePants, but he's holding the head of Patrick, and underneath the mask in the suit is Kid Boo. Elsa, whatever the ice one is from Frozen. I don't know if it's Anna or
That's
Elsa.
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 Yeah.
Also, yeah.
It's the Night King holding the Night King's head as a mask. A lot of those different unmasked things. It's it's one of his popular like kind of lines, I guess. He also, it looks like, I didn't notice these, but there's some Mario pins. There's a Mario and a Luigi, and part of the pins are glow in the dark. Did you see these?
I saw versions, but I don't think I saw his.
There's one, Mario's just walking,
Yeah.
and when you turn off the lights, his armpit and his arm glow in the dark, and it looks like a dick and balls.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Luigi. He's driving a car, and I'll show you when we're done. But it's very creative, very silly.
Because there's other art examples of that on his site.
Yep.
Where you go through and it's like, oh, he's drawing a dick. Like, no, it's the nose of a monkey or something like that.
Yep.
And there's a lot of those examples, and a lot of them. It's a lot of fun. It's humor. It's like, this is good art, but it's funny too.
Another kind of line that he has based off of, we saw a book of it,
Yeah.
was Adorable Circle of Life, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's the circle of life. It's dog eat dog. It's the food chain, predator and prey.
But oh, so adorable.
But adorable. But oh, so adorable with giant doe eyes. And he had there's a book of it with all these different versions, all these different examples of Adorable Circle of Life.
I'm glad I picked up the book.
Yep.
Because I think I did that before we made any purchases.
Yep. Which
And
kind
then-
of sold us on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
would think like you give a predator and it's actively eating prey, like it has something in its mouth. There's like a lion with a gazelle in its mouth, and like the gazelle isn't dying or in pain or wincing. It's just like, it's kind of happy.
It also has adorable eyes. Both the predator and the prey have adorable doe eyes, and despite the fact that there may be blood, or he had a figure of one of them, like a resin. Yeah, it's poly resin.
Is it? It's not vinyl?
Looking at the website, it says poly resin edition of 125.
Nice.
I snagged. He said it was the last one. Who knows? But it's a wolf snacking on a sheep, and they both look adorable. And there's even a little bit of blood. I think the blood is what sold me. The fact that there was one extra color on there. But I snagged that, and that like it was immediately I was like, hey, because initially I was afraid to ask the price because like I wanted it, but if it was over a certain amount, it's like I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I got vacation coming up. I got a mortgage, but like look, hey man, how much is this? $30. Sold. Deal. Just give it to me right now.
That's a worthy price.
Yep. That was well under the like my maximum amount.
Oh, for sure.
I also bought one. He had a plushie of a shark eating a seal. And he's like, this is $10. I was like, that's only $10.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, well, this is his last one, and $10 seems like a pretty good deal for a stuffed animal, for a plushie.
Yeah, right.
And again, they're adorable.
Yep. Adorable eyes, both the shark and the seal. I mean, the seals typically always have adorable eyes, but to see a shark with
It's a water dog.
anything except for dead eyes.
Yeah.
And so again, the two of us just had to team up and get them.
Yeah, we did it again. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
So you did it with both of us.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. Casually looking him up on Instagram, 300,000 followers.
Right.
So apparently we're in
Someone
the dark.
we've never heard of before.
New to the party.
Yep. We learned.
Yeah.
We learned a little
Because
bit.
what was our guess? I was like, guys, how many followers do you think he has? And someone was like,
My guess is 2,500.
I
Brett's guess was like
100, I guess between 125 to like 100 to like 250 or something like that. Maybe not even that. I think like 12 to 30.
Yeah,
But,
12 sounded right.
Yeah, 12,
Yeah.
like between 12 to 30.
We were
Grossly
under.
underestimated.
Almost
you were
at
closest
4
without going over though.
Yeah,
So-
Price is
almost
Right
at
rules.
400,000 followers
That's amazing.
with like an average of I think it was like 12 or 13,000
Yep.
interactions
Per
Mhm.
post.
per post.
Yeah,
Um,
which is awesome.
on that note of like surprising prices,
Mhm.
yes, thank you.
Nailed it. I had it open in my
Nice.
program.
Did it, Peter and Gabby.
Yep. Attack Peter.
Don't you mean surprises?
Damn it, Brett. We're trying to do a podcast.
What?
Like you walk around, you're so used to seeing things that are expensive, not unreasonably, because someone put hours into painting this thing.
Yeah.
Someone sculpted it, designed it, casted it, made negatives, made how many variations,
Mhm.
bought it from someone else, painted it themselves.
Yep.
And so like when you see a skull flower for like $800, it's like, wow, that's amazing, and I can't afford it.
Yep.
And we walk around and we go, well, this figure's only $30, and we go, oh, all right.
Mhm.
And we were looking at one vendor's art. They had prints. They had not prints, because they were
No. Okay. Oh,
Handmade linoleum block prints.
yes, block prints.
they weren't printed out. They were
Mhm.
literally
Pressings.
pressings. Thank you. I
Nailed it.
couldn't
Ink
get
presses.
there.
Yeah.
How we talked to Corey Press twice in the past, a year ago, and then earlier.
Talked to him back in October, and then we chatted on 374.
Really?
No,
No.
that was David Kahn returning. I got them confused.
But-
Shut up.
But they carve art out of a block, and then they ink it, and then they press it onto paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like it's just printed out of a machine. They literally have to press each individual thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
361.
Well, it's also another thing that ups the price value is the limited edition, as you probably you're as a collector you're
Yeah,
aware.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like there were a few that were numbered. Not
Mhm.
all of them were, but a few were definitely like numbered. This is like
Totally.
75
Handmade
or so.
Handmade
Yeah.
paper. Pretty much anything you could
Wow.
like. There was kaiju. There was
Star
monsters.
Wars.
Star Wars.
The style was so good.
Anime. The style
Comic
was
books.
fantastic.
Yep.
And there was different sizes. You get some big ones. You can get some small ones. And it's a matter of cringing when you're asking the price because you really want one.
The
but
big ones are big, and the small ones are still pretty big.
yeah, and like
And there was stacks, and I'd seen like variations that look similar to this, but like maybe a different processor, a different vendor at other shows. And so I'm expecting like $80 a page.
minimum.
Mhm.
Expecting, I'm like, these are gonna be 80, those are gonna be like 50, and like Gabby asked us if we were interested in what we're if we need any help, and I'm like, hit me with the price, and it was 40 and 20.
Mhm.
40 for the big ones and 20 for the small ones,
Mhm.
which was a enormous shock. And they
She saw us react.
yeah, and she came right out. She's like, we figure you guys have already paid to get into the show. Or people have already paid to get into the show.
Mhm.
So there's already money there. This isn't our main source of income. It's almost like a hobby. So why not make it affordable?
Yeah.
And
It's also encouraging to buy it there now
yeah,
Mhm.
versus because
And
like the price is going to be a little bit higher online.
Yep.
Because you also got to add in shipping.
Mhm.
But they're like, we just want to make it affordable for people that come up to us.
respect. And it was quality. It was really cool stuff. Like they were standing the whole time. They didn't have any chairs in
They
their
didn't have
booth.
chair-
They were on their
Yeah.
feet all day,
Respect.
hyping their merch. That is not easy to do.
I didn't see them not interacting with anyone.
Yep.
At all.
Yeah.
They had good location. It was a very cool product.
Mhm.
And there's something for everyone in those stacks, literal stacks
For sure.
of that hand. And the fact that I think the major thing, it's the handmade paper. That's just a cool aspect.
Yeah.
Who knows if it is actually handmade or if it's just unique looking paper. They bought it. Someone else handmade it. Don't
Mhm.
care. It was just a neat aesthetic.
One side was smooth, one side was rough.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was pulpy paper.
Pulpy. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a few. Actually, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
My yeah.
Talk.
ADD. Let's ride bikes. What I was gonna say is, I was gonna say I feel like I lied to y'all a little bit. Like I had ulterior motives of showing up.
What?
More for business oriented. So I wanted to go in and I wanted to learn a lot. And the thing about going to learn is I was like, I wanted to see a bunch of stuff and then just talk shop with a bunch of people just regarding the whole thing. And I wanted to see if I can get my hands on some blanks. And I did not find any blanks that really spoke to me. But the ones I did see a couple. Some of them produced by UVD Toys, Travis Likens.
Yep.
I don't know what UVD stands for. It doesn't specify, but my guess would be Urban Vinyl Design Toys. But that's just me guessing. I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am. But UVD Toys, they had the coffin, the rubber, the Walt Disney style, the rubber hose style animation coffin with the skull.
Like the coffin was a person and it was a smiley face.
Yeah. Super happy too. So big old smile. And it was really fun because like I said, kind of continuing, like everyone that I spoke to was really like loved the craft. And you don't normally, sometimes when you talk to artists, you'll be like, oh, well, how'd you do this? Most people are like, well, I'm not going to tell you. This is my secret.
It's trade secret.
It's my recipe. You're not getting my recipe. I'll take it to the grave. Not around there. At 5 points, you just be like, oh, how'd you do this? Be like, oh, I got this made through this guy, and I did this, and I ran through this, and I painted with this, and I got this texture from here, and it's just everyone just appreciates the craft. So
hey, can you slow down? I need to take some notes here.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't that obvious about it, but like it was just super fun and like just enthusiasm. I think enthusiasm and like that. I keep saying it, but it's community. Like you can just sense that there is a community about that surrounds 5 points. And the other thing that I took away from it is that I got to go to DesignerCon. Like DesignerCon's the next thing.
Yo,
I gotta
everyone
go.
we talked to talked about how big DesignerCon
the
is.
holy grail. Everyone's like, you got to go to DesignerCon, man. And I was like, what about Monster Palooza?
Three times the size.
Yeah. That's like
Decon. That's what a lot of people were calling it.
Yeah.
Decon.
Yeah.
Yep. That's like it's like the New York Comic Con of like vinyl vinyl. So which is I got to check it out. Miss Monster, an artist that I have been a major fan of for years and years. Have one of her masks. Picked up one of her pins, one of her enamel pin runs of like 4 that she got done recently. She goes to DesignerCon. She shows there every year. So.
I didn't recognize UVD by the name, but I saw them last year and I bought a few things off them.
Sweet.
They're one of the cards that I picked up.
Yep.
And I only picked up cards from people who were like, okay, I want to talk about this later.
Because they've got the Luna figures too.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like an adorable little creature with horns. And there's like lanterns hanging from its horns.
Yeah, it looked really cool. They had a nice breadth. Like you can see, like they do a little bit of everything. Like they had like one of the more elegant, like girl, like they had like the fae character creature with like the little like tendrils at the bottom, and then they had something that was a little bit more like more hip hop, like much more graffiti street art oriented, which I really like too. Is a gigantic bear and like the backpack. Yeah. And then they had like a couple other things that like just touched on different visual styles and genres that I really like, that versatility that they had.
And at one point we were walking around, Brett points out to me a print of a deep sea diver getting attacked by a kraken. By a
Brett was
squid.
very excited to show us to you too.
I was so proud.
We were planted by this booth, waiting for you to finish a conversation.
Yeah.
So we could show this.
I literally
Brett could show this.
I explained my motives to you while we were waiting for you. I was like, I'm going to show this to Alex. He's going to be so stoked.
And I'm like, yeah, he's gonna dig that.
Yeah.
So I walk up and Brett's pointing at this print. It's a beautiful print.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, look at this. And I go, yeah, I have it. Already. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, I bought it last year.
Damn it. I'm not surprised, but damn it nonetheless.
I was like, yeah, I had a really good deal. It's like you could buy 2 for 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the guy was watching what you guys were doing. There was a couple there, a man and woman. And so he's like watching this this unfold of me going, yeah, I already own it. What? It's cool, right?
Well, it's also because I was even talking it up to them too. I was like, dude, my friend, like he's totally gonna get a kick out of this. Like he's like, this is totally up his alley. Mine too.
And one side still like they had a 2-for-1 deal, and the other one I bought was the and I was like, robots on a plane with moss growing on them, and he's like, oh, it's bad. Flip one page, and there's the other one that I have.
Which that is impressive to know your product that well. Just be like, oh, yeah, just move the next one over.
Yep. I really like, and like, I even said, I came here to a toy show for designer figures mostly, and I'm walking out with prints. But it was good stuff. And then I realized that's why I started following them, and I had seen them making all these figures, and that they were Motley miscreations. And I didn't put together that the the prints that I bought were also these figures that I've been seeing them produce.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had some like more monocolored ones, and then they were pitching some really nice painted up ones with a lot of detail on them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was Motley Miscreations
Nice.
on Instagram. I like their stuff. I'm sorry to let you down.
No, that's fine. Hey, if it had to happen, I'm glad it happened that way.
We are coming up on about an hour and a half. We should probably wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm out of specific things or specific vendors to talk about. I don't know if anyone else had anything else they wanted to sneak in before we finish.
I actually regret not getting a can.
Because
one of the things, because Lagunitas, the brewery out in Lagunitas, California,
Yes.
they participated, and they actually had a series of beer cans with some of the artwork from the vendors featured on the side of the cans, and they're very limited edition. You can only get them for a little bit of time, and they had a bunch of beers tabbed. They had 6 Point, Lagunitas, and like a bunch of other breweries, one of the things that, like, I remember someone walking by and they're like, "Can you believe one of those cans is $10?" And me being a beer fan was just like, "That sounds about right."
that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one thing that our review is only covering half the show.
Yeah.
There's still the craft beer section, which we didn't. Alex and I not being drinkers.
I was being a good boy today.
Brett was being a good boy.
Saturday,
He had also just had dental surgery literally the day before.
That's true. I lost some weight.
We heard and kind of peeked into the tattoo room, but didn't really explore that much.
Yep, there was a tattoo. You could get tattooed there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole separate tattoo. You had to be over 18 to enter.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see people getting their tattoos on. I saw a couple of people walking around with bandages on their arms.
When you said can, I
Mhm.
thought you meant some of the people make spray can figures.
I thought that's what you were going for.
No, beer cans. Yeah,
Yeah.
like actual
No,
beer
I follow
cans.
now.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
that one vendor
My
who
bad.
had like the stuff like bursting out of spray paint
Those
cans.
look awesome.
Yeah, but
You should have gotten the TV head thing. There was like a jacketed gentleman with a television for a head.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Um,
there was a lot of stuff that I wish I could have gotten.
John doesn't listen to our episode, so he's not going to hear this. But I got him the pin that he wanted.
Nice.
He wanted Space Madness of a spaceman wearing a straitjacket.
That was a good pin.
He asked me Saturday night if I had gotten it, and I avoided the question and talked
Nah.
about other stuff instead.
Nice,
Oh,
So
nice.
this is going to be a surprise.
pulling an Alex.
No.
It's very true. It's very true. It's exhausting.
But
It's exhausting. Is that what you said? Thank you.
pulling a fast one. Fast one being my heartstrings.
I kind of want to. I'm sorry to keep us going like this.
No,
I personally prefer things that are casted over things that were printed.
yeah.
It's like the 3D prints.
Right.
You
Yes.
pick it up. It's kind of too light in your hand. If
Yep.
it's not sanded, it feels kind of rough.
Yeah.
I'm not really into it. But like if I pick up a vinyl, it's smooth. I know it wasn't printed. It was made a different way. Or if I pick up a resin, it's got some heft to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not sure how everyone else feels about that.
I think it's a way to make it affordable.
Yeah.
I think it's a really useful tool as it is currently. I think that as 3D printing becomes more and more ingrained, it becomes more common, and people are like doing like the arms race to try and get like the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to become much more. I think the product is going to increase in value. I don't know if that's going to create an increase in cost as well, depending on what materials you're using.
Yeah.
But for like PVC, for the PVC or what's the type of plastic that they're using these days? ACDC, AV.
That's
yeah, I believe
electric.
it's ACDC.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
that's electricity.
Yeah,
Yep.
alternative. Yeah.
Yep.
Currents?
Intermittent current. No, I should know this. I should know.
No
this.
one's faulting you for it,
Yeah,
Brett.
but like the filament that they use, like that's
Uh-huh.
going to increase in quality, and then
Yeah.
the printed that they're using it's going to increase. And I think I feel like it's really good for doing mock-ups for like if you're trying to get like a size down, or if you're trying to figure out the weight or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how a thing's going to look.
Right.
It's like a good for a rough sketch,
Yeah.
and then you either modify that and then put that in through to make it a vinyl or resin.
Yeah.
As an intermediary. But yeah, trying to get like a good final product out of a 3D printer these days, like it's hard to find. And if the only ones that I know that can get there are so expensive that they're just not available to the general public right now.
So the guy that had all the Buddha figures with
Yeah.
the different heads,
Mm-hmm.
those like weren't hyper quality,
Mm.
but they were like, I don't know, like maybe $10 or less a piece,
Yeah.
depending on what size you got.
True.
And they're the ones that were like rough and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's mass producing those. He had tons of them,
Wow.
but that's what he's making.
Yeah.
And then we go over to Dope Pope, and he had a printout of his Galactus which was
Oh,
hyper
yeah.
detailed, and it was just this bust, and even that was like $140.
Yeah.
And that was 3D printed.
Mm-hmm.
But they were obviously two very different quality print machines.
Yes.
And
I'm
Sometimes
sure
you can
different
see like the
applications.
layers, like each individual layer.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and that's it's some people.
Yeah.
They'll
And
they'll
that
want
texture
that.
works. Yeah.
I wanted to pick up the Galactus, but there was a sign saying not to touch it.
Yeah.
Well, it's also there's a thing about the printing too, is that 3D printing lends itself better to, I think, the interlocking geometric pieces. It's when you try and do something that's more organic, because that's where you kind of get into literal rough territory.
Mhm.
But like when you have something that's geometric, where especially with Galactus's, with the angles and
Yeah.
all that stuff and like the planes,
Mhm.
I think that lends it to it very well. Just speaking personally from like a mild artistic background. Like I think that reads better, but when you start getting like 3D printed shapes and ovals and things that have like it's supposed to have smooth shapes,
Mhm.
depending on what you're using, it's not going to be like it's not going to be a resin. It just won't be there. But it will be someday, and I think you still can. It's just you need to get a printer that's like five figures or something like that to get that done.
Sorry, there was a vendor there that had like their own action figure series, almost like Transformers,
Nice.
and every part was 3D printed.
Oh wow.
And I figure the medium lends itself to that better
Sure.
than like a statue figure as a toy figure,
Yeah.
because they had moving parts that you could like snap together essentially.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that made a lot more sense to me than like a Buddha statue.
for sure.
I'll put a Buddha statue on my dashboard.
I'm trying to think. Like there was
But like
yeah.
these other the mech toys, I might actually pose them so they're battling. You
Yeah.
know,
Man, if you could 3D print your own Gundam, like your own Gundam like model,
shit, Brett,
like
stop.
life size.
Right? No, but yeah, hear me out. But that would be amazing. Like, and that would be like, man, that'd be really cool. And I'm sure, and it's one of those things. Like, even I might even be talking on this from an uneducated point of view, where I'm forgetting something. But like, but I think they are doing 3D printing where it's not just like the plastic filament, but they are figuring out how to print it using other material too, which is helping to combat those concerns about texture and like time and even just fragility and just structure and stuff like that. But yeah, in the next couple of years, I think we're going to see a nice bump in quality in terms of 3D printing. I think it's going to become a much bigger viable tool. I mean, they're using them for D&D figures now.
Yeah,
Like I mean, used to there's at least I can think of like at least a half dozen of them that use like 3D
because
printing.
they could
as
just
a
plug
primary
into
method.
different parts.
Mhm.
Really easy.
Yeah,
It was nice talking to Dope Pope. I got to talk to him for quickly for a bit,
nice. Yeah,
and he does amazing ZBrush things with computer.
It's unfair.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but like
Yeah.
to go between comic book characters and like mechs and Godzillas, he does great kaiju in ZBrush. It looks amazing. But having that conversation, like maybe he'll do a show someday.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah. I hope so. I would love to hear him talk about that. About
Me
anything,
too,
really.
but I'm so ignorant on the subject.
No.
It'd be like talking to a first grader.
Well,
Here's what numbers are, kid, and I'll be like, so ZBrush, huh?
But
You
what-
design things? But
Dude, how do that?
you make
Which
I
is
buy?
essentially what our entire show is.
How that?
I bought a MODOK sticker from him.
Nice.
Nice.
He made MODOK. And
I saw you comment on Tony Moy's
Yeah.
MODOK with the gauntlet.
Yeah.
By the way, totally
MODOK
off,
don't get enough love.
totally
Mhm.
off subject. But are we ready for grades?
Sure.
You got more?
No, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very cool show, but I also we gotta grade it.
Yeah.
It was my first one. I plan on going again. Hopefully, at a time where I can be more frivolous with my spending,
Mhm.
because I'm going on vacation next week, so I have to be a little careful.
Hmm.
But overall I had a great time. It was really nice. Right off the bat, seamless getting in, or painless getting in. It was, hey, I recognize you from Sarah Booz, who we talked to last year to hype up the show. She's I believe it said executive producer in the program of the show. Yes, executive producer. And so it was painless getting in. Painless, like we left, went and got food, walked right back in. It wasn't, we're at capacity, you can't come in. It was a very good show. We waited and the line moved pretty quick once they actually opened the doors.
Yeah.
And The product was great. The vendors were great. The space, I think, was used well. And I had a great time. Aside from it getting pretty warm throughout the day, I don't have many complaints.
They tried. They shut it off real cold.
Yeah, yeah, it was real chilly in there.
They were ready for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'd give it a solid B+. I very much enjoyed the show.
Nice. Just like the place where we got lunch, grade pending. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It said that on the door.
It did. I know. Actually, I really like that place that we got. I cannot wait to try and put honey on my pizza.
Yo,
again.
honey on pizza
That
is like
was
the new
amazing.
meta.
I was thinking about it all day today, and I loved it.
I was sticky. I was a
Three
sticky
slices
mess.
of the Hellboy, please.
Yeah.
Yep. But we got the hell, and I sent a snap to my friends like, when you have the opportunity to get a pizza named after Hellboy, you get that pizza.
Yeah. Yep.
But from a
Yes, joking aside, yeah, I would say I honestly A, yeah,
number one,
that grade. But yeah, like I enjoy it. Like all the things that you said, I completely agree with too. And then also because like I got to meet people, I got to hang out with my friends and my girlfriend, in a place where I don't normally get to go. So we got the band back together, which is nice.
Yep.
After a much needed, after a painful sabbatical, a much needed reunion is what I'm saying. And then yeah, I loved just being around artists. You know, it's like now I'm thinking about just being like, what can I make that can get me in here next year?
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, it was professionally and personally, it was a wonderful trip all around. So I got to give it like an A, and yeah. Maybe A-, like just to have room for improvement. But there was very little I could say that not once during that entire day was I in a state of disappointment or sadness or crankiness. It was a good day, and it was a good event, and it was with good people. So there you go.
That's what's up.
Yep.
I didn't witness anything go wrong. The staff was on top of everything.
If something did go wrong, we didn't see it.
We didn't see it. I didn't hear anyone complaining, be it guests, exhibitors, vendors, any of that. And even Paul Jackson was saying why he will never do New York Comic Con again.
Yeah.
And he'd rather do small shows like this.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to get stuck between a Geico booth and something else will be buried between where it's not art.
Yeah.
And he's like, here, it's much better off. One of the things that I learned from Joe is like, well, if it doesn't get a perfect grade, then what would you improve on it? And I'm not sure what I would improve.
Yeah.
We got in, we were entertained, we left. There was a lot we still didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do any panels. We didn't really inspect the tattoo room.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff that I could have done more, and I didn't do enough.
Yeah.
So like they had me plenty entertained on top of, finding the right people to do it, the right people to show up and hawk their wares and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And even last year, my only complaint was like maybe better infrastructure. Like,
sure,
if you're gonna be recording and publishing a panel, like get a real camera. You have a volunteer holding a cell phone. But that was last year. We didn't make it to a panel this year to see what they did differently.
It's true.
But even if you weren't there were a hell lot of posts on their Instagram.
Yeah.
If you weren't there, it would feel like you're there. I came home and I'm still watching it for 30 minutes, seeing what I've missed.
Heck yeah.
Or what people are hawking and pimping, and they're repeating other people's posts. So like a vendor is psyched about what they have. And 5 Points is reposting that. And just like there was a lot of information that you would not lose there.
Yeah.
They worked really hard, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna go with an A.
Nice.
Nailed it.
I'm gonna bump mine back to an A. I said A-. I'm bumping it back up to an A.
It's like Alex convinced Brett.
Yeah,
it was just that much better.
I was like, why am I being a jerk and just being like A-, room for improvement? No, it was a lovely time. Yeah, you convinced me.
Now I feel like an asshole.
Well, there's room to improve for you.
For next
time.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what could have been improved?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna welch.
All right.
You
No, you said it. They always say go with your first.
We don't know what Sunday was like, so maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking about actually that I was like I found myself like on my recoup day, like the day after I was just going back like, oh, who won? Oh man, oh
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, who showed up? Oh, who was still there?
We didn't even go to the Designer Toy Awards.
No.
No.
Dr. A won a category.
Yeah.
Good for Dr. A. He did it. They did it. So 5 Points, great success, very fun show.
Can't wait.
It's
for
one of
next
those
year.
shows I hope John can go next year because I want to watch and experience the show with John.
That'll be hype.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Even just a little bit from New York Comic Con last year, like bumping into him and like seeing the stuff that he picked up and the stuff that he's excited about. It's just, it's fun to go to a show with someone like John.
Yep. Heck yeah.
5 points. Very fun. Big thank you to everyone involved with the show again for letting us cover it for the second year in a row. Hopefully we do the show justice. And be sure to check out our Facebook page for pictures. That's facebook.com/opinionsmayvary. You can also check out Instagram. That's Opinions May Vary, all one word. So you can see the photos there. The full photo album is going to be on Facebook. Twitter, it's at OMV Podcast. It's mainly for your episode update needs and all that stuff. Brett, where's your stuff?
What? Oh, it's in my pocket. But
you can find it in Brett's pocket.
I'm an idiot. It's a BK Art Merc. This is where you can see most of my stuff. I haven't been posting too recently, but hold on, there might be something coming.
Busy man.
Actually, I even diversified. So I got my just look up BK Art Merc, but I also have my blog spot I resurrected, and I actually have been posting once a month for just random stuff. So bkartmercenary.blogspot.com is back up and running.
Go.
Oh, and I have a coffee account. But I don't use it.
Oh, Ko-Fi?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I say it's coffee, but
Yeah.
Ko-Fi, sure. But coffee, yeah. I have a coffee account, BK Artwork, once more. Just in case if anyone wants to check that out. It's
That's
different.
BKARTMERC.
Yes.
BK Art Merc.
Short. I told you I was tired at the very beginning of this. I have
It's
confirmed
time
it
to wrap up.
Short for Art Mercenary is what I meant to say.
Go check that shit out. Hope everyone enjoyed. 5 points was a great show, as evidenced by the last hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
If you can't make it to this show because you're on the wrong coast, then you might as well go to DesignerCon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out. We've heard decent things. So
Please do and send me
go
pictures.
check out your designer toys, craft beers, and all the great things that you never knew you loved so much. Because that was what happened with me.
Mhm.
But that's going to do it.
Nice.
Very fun. 5 points. Good show. Until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Brett Kelley.
And this has been episode 377 of Opinions May Vary.